Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to join you today for this great session. And I'm really excited to share with you the experience, learnings, and the knowledge that we have about AI and implementing AI in dermatology. My name is Maryam. I'm the CEO and co-founder of MedOptima. I'm a computer scientist by training. My PhD was in computing science and medical imaging from Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, Canada. And also I had a scholarship for training in dermatology at UBC Dermatology Skincare Center and BC Cancer Agency. Going back to 2010, this is borrowed from Dr. Rabinovitz, and from the presentations, I really enjoyed these learning back then about computer-assisted diagnostic systems for melanoma. And most projects, the main focus was on melanoma during that time, and also I think it continued to be like that, but now we added more like in different skin diseases, different malignant classes, and now we are actually seeing more in general dermatology. But when you talk about dermatology and AI, people think there will be an app that will make a diagnosis. So this is really the public understanding of AI and dermatology. So these are also some of those machines that actually Dr. Rabinovitz presented in that talk, 2010. And today we have some of these, we integrate with them, and some of our doctors are using some of these, and there are new machines, upgraded versions of these machines as well. So really identifying the potential for AI to contribute in diagnosing skin cancer and specifically melanoma was known back then, and there were digital systems, although they were expensive. And today I can see that these expensive machines may actually work in centers of excellence or academic centers or big derm units, but most of the physicians don't have access to big machines. And that's why I don't think for a system to be effective, it should be limited to these machines. And if any of these partners companies have solutions, I don't think it should be limited to one machine. It should be scalable and applicable to other modalities, to other systems. So really like building a computer system that is sensitive to one camera, one lighting setup, and optical solution, I think is not really scalable. So back then, working on different systems, Melafine was one of the devices. I participated in many of those workshops and conferences, presentations, really learned about the process, learned about the approvals, studies, and also post-market data that was collected. And the fact that you have a system that is limited in terms of getting better was a big question, like why you should limit a system that can get better by learning more from the data that you have. But unfortunately, the system set up even today with the FDA and other regulatory bodies and organizations is that if you have a system approved, you cannot change it or modify it easily. You have to go and repeat many things. And that was really one of the problems. I'm sure if we had a better regulatory system, machines like Melafine and other solutions could actually improve, could learn and improve the product. And also there are many learnings from the market that will help you to improve the system. Unfortunately, this product was not successful, and at the end it didn't succeed. But actually I remember these cases presented that melanoma was the image was reviewed by physicians, experts, and also the decisions for melanoma, yes or no, and biopsy, yes or no. And at the end, all doctors were wrong and the computer was right. And this was an insight to melanoma. And then these were presented as evidence, as an evidence for the machine being better than human experts and getting the approval. There was another one very similar, but really like this is an engineering perspective. So I want you all to think about the experiments that you design, the tables that you present, the papers that you publish, and just identify all the limitations that you have in that research setting. Don't just generalize it to real life clinical settings. It's very, very different. There are many learnings. If you just go back and study what happened to the other products, to the other algorithms, the ones successful, the ones who did not succeed, and why, you will see that real life implementation was a major challenge. And this real life implementation is not just the product, a feature, it's actually much more than that. It's the system, integrations, adoption, workflow, onboarding, so many other factors that will actually have impact. But this was really one example of engineering excellence versus clinical excellence. That actually, I believe, was the main reason for that problem. Anyway, that training program just presented to you what I learned during that process, a summary. It was really resulted in my research, publishing my thesis and several other publications about finding dermoscopy structures using algorithms for analyzing these images and helping with the analysis. And this was again a mock-up I designed in, I designed in PowerPoint, and just cut and paste one of the figures from my thesis and built this application in PowerPoint mock-up. And I was like, this will be used one day by patients, doctors, and the system, the technology should be able to help them. And this was just a vision. That research was very successful, and it was a fun journey, as I mentioned. I won many awards, the Dean Medal, the Best Doctoral Thesis Award, the Fall Congress of Dermatology, the Gold Medal I won for the poster presentations I had, and the Innovation Challenge Award from our Minister of State in Canada. And also continued contribution to other projects and using AI in dermatology and wound care and different disciplines. Really, I continued after my postdoc. In January 2014, we started building the product based on our learnings from the dermatology side, dermoscopy side, and also from the computer vision and AI side. And also, of course, you need to have a really good expertise in the product side. It's not just AI, it's back end, front end, UI, UX, customer success, so much that you need to build to successfully implement your technology in the healthcare system. The vision for our solution at the beginning was this AI first, like everyone else from the beginning, we thought this is going to be a diagnostic tool that is going to help doctors. It's going to improve their accuracy. And of course, it has to be secure, scalable, accessible. And the vision that we had really was saving lives and cost and time for our doctors. So these are all coming from those early days of our team presentations and when we started this. But actually learning from the other systems implemented, I worked on computer-aided diagnostic systems, not just in dermatology, but other domains as well. Did market review and market research on the failures and many different things. In this case, we decided to implement a digital platform that actually helps with digitizing this ecosystem. It was super under-digitized. If you compare dermatology with other disciplines, it's super under-digitized. Like we don't have PACS, we don't have all the standards that we have for radiology, cardiology, and unfortunately it was under the shadow of cosmetics. Coming from other side of medical imaging, it was very obvious to me that it was less developed. Anyway, the plan was to build a digital platform. So we connect the stakeholders, digitize the data, and this was the first step for building an AI-powered solution. And then you build the AI algorithms, you implement validating clinical settings, you learn every day from your doctors what they want how they want this to be implemented, why they like it and why they don't like it. So we implemented our Net Promoter Score system that actually we get feedback from our doctors if they like it, if they don't like it, why they don't like it. And this was that important part of adoption. So you make sure you speak their language, you make sure you're solving their problems, you make sure you show them that you're not replacing them, but you're building assistance for them to be more efficient and more accurate. And also this iterative, I think, culture, which is one of our main values in the company: build, iterate, improve, and expand. So this is really that foundation of implementing AI in dermatology, I believe. You need to have a digital ecosystem, not just one app. You need to have different stakeholders, and this is also an important part. When you talk about AI and dermatology, I've got this question many times. Oh, how dermatologists will use this? I'm like, I'm not sure this is the best tool for dermatologists, because our derms are good at what they do. Yes, of course, they can have assistance and they can be more efficient. They can be better. But really, the tool will be more successful in serving our dermatologist nurses, their PAs, MAs, their GPs in the front line serving millions of patients every day. They don't have dermatology training. Our patients at home. So really, it's not just one solution that fits all first. And also, it's not like AI for dermatologists. It's actually AI designed and improved by dermatologists for their ecosystem. And we're talking about dermatosurgery, dermato-oncology, dermatopathology. So that was really another, I think, another main difference in our approach and how we did this compared to the other technologies that I have seen are developed. So we cover the digital platform for all stakeholders in the patient journey, not just for dermatologists. On the other side, for having like this AI implementation in real life, I have seen, again, applications that you can take your photo, it will give you green, yellow, red. That is not AI in dermatology. It's just one algorithm. It's just one feature. For a platform, like we have over 44 different algorithms. There's total body photography. There is e-triage. There is like finding similar cases and visual search. There is post-processing, pre-processing algorithms. And we also have, for example, image registration, rotation, image calibration. There are like many algorithms that you will need to have for a platform, for a product, to be able to be deployed in real life. So otherwise, you won't really have the result that you need. For example, if you don't have image calibration, the impact of that imaging device is huge. And then you have to limit your algorithm to one device or one setting. It's just very difficult. But if you have all those different steps, at least at the beginning, because you have cold start, you don't have millions of images from all different devices to say, oh, my system will learn. You will need to build that from the beginning, step by step, to make sure that you have that setting. So having this multiple cross-platform access and connected solution was really important. And then you get all the users contributing to this are basically using different devices. This is organic. This is evergreen, and it's not just limited to one user. And it's, I believe, a fair access to the platform. Not just users with iPhone will have access. No, you can use any smartphone that has internet connectivity, or tablets, or even web application, or TV. So that was another important factor. And then we get to the implementation phase, when you have, okay, now a digitized solution, you have different stakeholders, you have connectivity, and you have the applications. You start building these AI algorithms, and now you need to say where it's going to work, where it is not going to work. And I think it's really important to identify all the challenges as much as possible, all the edge cases, all the biases yourself. Because if you have that, your risk mitigation, if you have a good risk analysis, your risk mitigation will be identifying those that your algorithm won't be able to handle and communicating this with the user. For example, if you don't have a skin type 5 and 6 in your data set, and this is a major problem for skin cancer, because our dermoscopy images are coming from cancer centers, and our skin cancer patients usually are skin type 1, 2, 3, more like 1, 2. Of course, there's bias in the data, and that's not really in your control because that's more common. But now you are offering this and you are telling your user that our AI can help, for example, with this specific feature. But you should also tell your users that these are the limitations, these are the skin types that you can use. You know, the other ones are not available yet. Or there are biases, for example, I have seen data from one specific country with one specific skin type, and a bias even the diagnosis classes. Like in some places, there are like rare diseases, and in other countries, you cannot find even one. So there are like many other biases. So I think it's really important to make sure that we have a comprehensive analysis of our database. One of the things I'm really focused myself and keep reading about it and learning about it is really these like all bias points. And one of the things you need to do for clinical evaluation is risk evaluation, risk analysis, risk mitigation strategies, and making sure those are all addressed. The other one is the data bias, the imaging sensors. So we have different optical systems in our dermoscopy devices. If you're talking about skin cancer, we have different phones, different lighting systems, and different imaging skills. And if you give a device to a consumer, it's really different than giving a device to your professional users. So all these should be answered, but I know we don't have all the answers, but at least we need to identify these. And there's actually more. There's a long list of all these points. And make sure that we have considered them in designing the product and have considered them in training our users, and also setting the expectations. These are really important. On the other side, there are regulatory challenges. I mentioned like about the devices previously approved and they were not successful. If they had the chance to keep improving the system, if they had the chance and an easier platform, I'm sure the outcome would be different. And even today, with like you have systems, you know, you have more data tomorrow, it's gonna get better, and it's just going to get better and better over time. But if you go through a regulatory process, you will have to freeze the system. You will have to take all the advantages that deep learning systems, machine learning systems, and all the new learning systems have today, and you have to just freeze this and say, okay, here's the black box, like use it. But really, that's one of the problems. Why not let the users change the settings, tune the settings? Like I had a talk about AI and implementations, and I think we should have, like, I was even talking to the to our FDA team that actually we are working on some of the approvals for our some of our new products, that I believe there should be a window of tuning and validation for users. You don't have to set a threshold, oh, this is going to work for everyone. No, different patient demographics, doesn't matter how much we perfect the system. Different demographics, different settings, different basically data points will have different requirements, and we should let the users to play and program the engine, not just one fixed algorithm, but there could be an engine that can help you with your patient navigation algorithms, with your care coordination algorithms. So the best use of AI, I believe, is in high volume quality cases. So not really having an AI application for a dermatologist who is really trained, like they have experience, they don't need this application much really. But who needs it? A big healthcare system that is dealing with so many unnecessary referrals, unnecessary visits, unnecessary procedures, very poor patient outcomes because of the delays in the system, to help these doctors to see the patients who need them first. Like this is one of the best settings, and it's all about those challenges that we have in implementation and the design of the system and the regulatory challenges that you have for improving the system. But I think we are going, my prediction is that the industry will be going to a direction that won't really have these like cutoffs fixed, but it will enable the users to use the engine analysis, intelligence, and modify based on their needs to see the results. So anyway, that's one of the topics really interesting. I invest a lot of my time these days on these topics. On the other side, there's the question about AI and the ethics of AI. I think there's a big difference being legal and being ethical. Like you can have a device approved and then you give it to a doctor who's not using it for good, you know, and this is very possible. Unfortunately, we have in all industries, in all domains, in all expertise, we have good people and we have bad people. You know, AI can be in good hands, AI can be in bad hands. So really, it's not AI's fault. It's our fault. Like if we don't use the knife to cut, you know, fruit and vegetables for cooking, and we use it for killing people, it's not like knife, it's us or whoever is, you know, the operator. So that's really like one silly example of AI in good hands and AI in bad hands. On the other side, we have addressed all these. How we make sure our doctors like it, use it, and adopt it. So that explainable AI concept was really, I think, an important decision for us and really helped. And this is a mock-up from, you can see there are two algorithms that we had for, this is just a mock-up from old days. That actually algorithm 1 against algorithm 2, and you give the doctors the tools to search for similar cases, and they have a talk diagnosis, the differentials, and they can click on the images, and they can disagree with this. And this is really like explainable AI. Like you can tell the doctors, oh, look, these are similar. And one of the doctors told me, oh, it's like my intelligent textbook. Oh, I love it. I can show my MA and my PA, and I keep teaching them in the office every day. So these are really the tools that can help them. So it's really this educational workflow tool. And then there's also another implementation. This is one example from our system that actually, I showed you the visual search part, but really like you have a classifier, for example. This is not in the final product. I'm just presenting one of the classifiers. So you have the image. You could also just give them the black box answer, which is usually the expectation people have when you talk about AI and dermatology. Oh, it will give me the answer if it's cancer or not. So this could be that black box. But this chart here shows the probability for different diseases. So you may have like 46% versus 30 something and versus 20 something distribution of probabilities, but at the end, the system is forced to make a decision, so it will call that 46% your label, when those other probabilities are also equally important for the doctor, right? So why you just hide this part and just show this black box answer? So why you don't explain what the system is identifying, and why you don't show similar cases for each class? So that is really the thesis behind designing AI for real life settings and making sure it's helping our doctors. We say this is going to be your intelligent assistant. This is not going to be a decision box that's going to say, oh, you don't need a doctor anymore because I can tell you this is a basal cell carcinoma. No, actually that is not true, because we know in real life settings, there are many more information points about patient that doctors know, and the machine won't have that context necessarily. And this is really, really, I think, dangerous to overestimate technology. I think we need to design it well, to use it well and appreciate it, not really fight against it. So yeah, and then I mentioned that interactive part of the tool that, okay, the system is saying these are similar, you may disagree with it, you just dislike this one, it's gonna change your result. It is not forcing you to accept what it says. You can say, no, I don't agree with you, this is not similar. So that's really, I think, the tool that I have seen doctors keep playing with it, and they keep learning. So you can open two images, you can compare two images. And these are very small features, I believe, but it's really like those baby steps you have to learn what doctors will connect with, what doctors will like to use and will actually help them. And then in terms of the AI and validations, there are scientific competitions, and we were the winners of the ISIC Challenge 2018. And the top 3 algorithms that we had in that competition And also the results that were published in Lancet Oncology, and this was an independent reader study that published, and probably you have seen it and you have heard about this and seen the presentation several times, really comparing the potential, comparing the AI performance to human experts. When I was informed about this result and I read the details, I never told myself, wow, this is great, now this is ready to go to the market. The first thing I told the team, our team, was that this shows a great potential for the algorithms to serve our doctors. This was really that, the summary of all those successes that we had. It's like, this is a great potential, let's prove it. And just looking at the charts, and this is a modified version of the chart that actually we had in this publication that was showing the human results and the AI algorithms, the performance. This is amazing. Yes, it is amazing, but this is a clinical research phase. It is not a real life setting. It's not validated. It is not really polished, and there is no UI for it. There is no user experience analysis. There's a lot to bring this to life, but let's work on that. So from this perspective, we took this success and focused on implementing the tool to be successful. And I think it's really important that if you really say we have AI, we want to be in the market serving doctors and patients, I think you should dare to put yourselves out there to be evaluated against other algorithms, against other tools, and also against human experts and the ones who are doing this every day in the field. And I'm glad that we did that and helped us learn a lot and actually move forward for the right approach. There are also other studies. I keep, doing more research in this domain and really like showing that what is the impact of collective knowledge of experts, what is the impact of adding AI to the collective knowledge of experts. So I think we are clearing the water. We are getting to the point that we see, okay, how this should be implemented. It is really not the best use of our resources spent on all these research projects to hide in libraries and just like papers. I think we need to take that a step and bring it to life. The other one that is one of my favorites actually is looking at different expertise. We, in this publication, actually from 2020, they looked at different user groups, expertise, nurse practitioners, PCPs, derms, and deep learning system. They looked at top 1, top 3, like differentials versus the diagnoses. And these are the type of studies I believe we need to show who should be able, who can use AI and how this should be designed. What are those settings? For example, this is my favorite of all that shows if you are confident out of 5 out of 5, you are better than the AI systems. But if you're not confident, that's where AI can be your assistant. This is a very, very good one. I think it's speaking loudly about the potential, user experience feature for these tools to be implemented. So if you're confident 5 out of 5, you don't need the machine. So we're not expecting machine to be better than you if you're confident. But if you are not, then these are really showing those strengths. And also really about the deep knowledge that will contribute to deep learning. Deep knowledge, I mean, it's not just from dermatologists. We have a lot of information, meaningful information coming from primary care, from pharmacies, from patients at home, from surgeons, oncologists, pathologists. So all these data points can contribute to that AI engine, and the integration with these different sectors and stakeholders is really important to complete a better solution that will be the patient outcome. As you go like up this pyramid, you get treatment information, and I believe AI implementation in dermatology is not and won't be limited to just diagnostic decisions. We have a very good potential for treatment matching. So we have some actually new projects in general dermatology and new treatments, drug discovery, and all of those will be only possible if you have a good integration of your AI engine that is learning from all these stakeholders. And at the end, I think the implementation for AI, the best implementation is where you have volume, services you need, and you need quality. It's very, very helpful to have an AI system that can help you separate from all the referrals to your major cancer center, for example, what should be seen in the highest patient center, what should be in the surgical units, topical treatment units, in the low risk units, managed by maybe primary care or other trained physicians. This is the best setting for AI. And this is what we are advocating, what we're implementing today in different settings as well. Again, what we've built today is the result of hard work, dedication, passion from every single member of our team today who has contributed one day even as a co-op or student or our previous employees. And if you are interested, I'm sure there are companies who are hiring in this domain. We are also hiring for several positions. And if you are interested, passionate about solving this problem and bringing your hard work to life to help patients and doctors, please contact me. Here's my phone number and my email address. And also, I invite you to come to our beautiful British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada. And yeah, it's fun to build technologies that can serve millions of patients. And best of luck for all of you. And thank you so much.